Week 5 of the AVP League has landed in LA. In a city that defines stars and spotlights, two teams have risen as box office leaders. The breakout stars, the LA launch riding a wave of confidence, remain flawless. And as the hometown heroes roll out the red carpet, the Palm Beach Passion with their star-studded cast are primed to steal the show. Leading ladies, Mel and Brandy have found their groove, while Phil and Trevor are only giving main character energy under the lights of the Intuit Dome. A collision for first. Welcome to the AVP League. In a city that is the heart and soul of beach volleyball, where volleyball is not a sport, but a lifestyle. AVP League Week 5 action finds itself at the Intuit Dome, a beautiful new facility that is housing the world's best beach volleyball players in a new, exciting format. The Palm Beach Passion taking on the LA Launch, the unbeaten LA Launch at that in their hometown venue. It is a clash of the Titans, the top two teams in the Cup standings, a 1 versus 2. LA, perfect, 6-0, unblemished, but the Palm Beach Passion with 2 wins today could topple the LA Launch and find themselves sitting pretty heading into the second half of the season. Hi, everyone. Cameron Irwin alongside the Olympic gold medalist Rich Lamborn. And this has been such a fun matchup that we've been prepping for. What are the implications of this 1 versus 2?
Well, it's all about supremacy here, Cam. You mentioned it in your beautifully worded opening that it's main character energy at stake here. Nobody likes to play the supporting role, right? And both teams looking to get to the top of the table. Currently, the LA Launch is there undefeated, as you mentioned. And the Palm Beach Passion looking to change that here tonight.
Well, let's take a look at the Cup standings. It is 8 weeks of regular season play. You will have an opportunity to have your men's and women's pairings combined win-loss record to ultimately find that regular season title. And the LA Launch unbeaten on both the men's and women's, which is why they're sitting at 6-0. This is just their second weekend of play. Each team will have 4 of the 8 possible. The Palm Beach Passion, they will have only 1 weekend remaining to be able to pick up some points. They're sitting at 8-2. 2 wins would get them to the top of the order, and finding their groove is this duo, Mel and Brandy. That's Melissa Humana-Paredes and Brandy Wilkerson on a 4-match win streak. They dropped their first at week number 1 in Palm Beach, but since then they've been sitting awfully pretty. Why so?
Yeah, that was kind of the start of their season. We know they were the silver medalists from the Paris Olympic Games last summer, so we know what their top level is. And they had a long off season, deservedly so, after that success in Paris. And it's taken them just a minute, but they certainly have found their groove now, and they are very, very formidable.
As a team, they are hitting a combined 7-16 from an evening ago. As you take a look at Melissa Humana-Paredes, just 32 years old, out of Toronto, Canada, as is her partner, Brandy Wilkerson, and of course, Luzern, Switzerland, where she was born, son of an NBA standout, or excuse me, daughter of an NBA standout. As you take a look at the LA Launch, the youngest woman in the mix, that's May Craft, just 22 years old, and Therese Cannon. And this has been probably one of the best upstarts we've seen. We saw them in the league last year, but it is a different team in 2025.
Yeah, they just got together as a partnership last season, had success almost immediately, and they've been fantastic not only at the end of last year, but into this year, undefeated thus far in league play, and looking to continue that here tonight.
One of the big reasons they've gotten to this 3-0 mark with the 6'3" blocker, it's all serving on their side. One of the best teams in terms of aces found, and they're going to need that against this team of the Palm Beach Passion. Let's check in now with Melissa Humana-Paredes on what she thinks of the LA Launch.
Another really strong team that we've played a few times internationally. They're playing really well, so it's going to be a matter of being able to kind of limit their service pressure. They're really good servers, so we'll have to match that and then also control our pass set. Once we're in control there, I feel like it's smooth sailing on our side, so it'll be another really good battle, lots of good rallies, and important to be strong both offensively and defensively.
Looking for smooth sailing. That's a little hard to do to find in the Pacific.
I feel like if Mel would have had a collar on that shirt she was wearing, she would have popped it when she said smooth sailing. But she mentioned the service pressure, and that is a big part of the LA Launch game.
Palm Beach Passion choosing to start on Meg Craft, the 4-time national champion. Yes, that's correct. There's 6 total national championships on that side of the net alone.
Yeah, they win a lot at USC in the Women's Collegiate Beach program. Coach Dane Blanton.
And also representing 6 different national championships. They were never on the same squad at the same time at USC. There's the lefty sent right back down to the line. Brandy Wilkerson stands at just 5'10", but she plays about 6'5".
Yeah, very, very physical and dynamic in her game. Kind of an interesting start here to this match because Megan Craft and Brandy Wilkerson, not typically the players you see getting served a lot for these teams.
They're going to stick right with it. The triple ace on the side of the Palm Beach Passion. Let's check in now with the third member of our crew, the 2-time Olympian, Kevin Barnett.
Thanks, Cam. Something to watch in this match. This is the scoop to score matchup, the premium one in all of league play. You have Meg and you have Mel. Mel's hitting north of 500, Meg's hitting north of 450. Both of them can generate defensive opportunities and convert. So keep an eye on those defenders. Now, I did talk to each one of the teams before we started here tonight. And for LA, the key was strength of serve. You mentioned that is a big strength for LA, Cam. They said they're going to take their best serve and put that up against trying to destabilize Palm Beach. No one's really been able to do it in the last few matches. Maybe they can. On the other side, Rico DeFritas, head coach for the Palm Beach Passion, said, listen, the main actress in this one is Brandy. Everything that LA hits is high. Yesterday was more about angles and chops against Miami. Here, Brandy is going to be the main actor. She has to find a way to disturb the attack of the opponent.
Great work, Kev. You got the full layout for both the Palm Beach Passion and the LA Launch. A little more main character energy, it sounds like, on the side for Brandy Wilkerson.
And typically when teams face off against the Passion, it's Operation Neutralize Brandy Wilkerson because she is so impactful in so many areas of the game. And there's another nice look at Meg Craft with a smooth side out.
Meg Craft, just 22 years of age, and we really have seen her game just continue to grow. In what areas have you seen that specifically, though?
Well, you mentioned her national championships at USC during her time in college. She was a blocker at that point, playing defender here for the LA Launch, and so there's a nice look at the service pressure of LA as we kind of talk about Meg Craft's accolades. She has such a well-rounded game. I mean, she is a force on defense. Well, that's kind of a new position to her, but that's just indicative of what a skill set she has top to bottom.
Making the switch from blocker to defender. Sometimes you'll see a split block as there's the back-to-back ace. Meg Craft doing some soft damage.
Doesn't always have to be a laser beam. Placement is paramount.
Placement is perfect in this case.
Either way, it's alliterative.
This time she sends it to the left side of the court and finds the dig a little too tight as it touches the antenna. You mentioned the transition from blocker to defender, and it's wild to think she actually made her AVP debut at just 16 years old. She was blocking at that time alongside Delaney Maple, who was also her partner at USC.
Yeah, she has been a prodigy for a long time, and it's paying off here in the professional ranks. Even a wunderkind. Cam, I knew what that meant.
There's the quick touch, and here's the return. Those are the plays that have elevated the LA Launch.
Well, there's a look at kind of what Kevin was talking about, how aware of Brandy's presence you have to be. She swatted the first one, Meg, knowing that, had to go up a little bit higher on that second offering to get it over the block of Wilkerson.
You saw it there. Join us on all social media channels at AVP Beach. Join in on the conversation. We want to know what you think about that high line swing from Brandy Wilkerson. Melissa and Brandy coming off, like you mentioned, their silver medal in Paris. They felt like that was quite the, we'll call it catapult into the AVP League last year. As the option play comes about, we've been educating the audience all season long on that option play, but working on two.
Yeah, I mean, we call it the option play, right? Because the service reception is in the window where Therese could either set that ball or attack it. This time she chooses to attack it very well into the deep corner.
Out of the middle and short angle. Rescued by Meg Craft. Another dig and turn for Meg Craft. She's making some money with that skill. And Therese Cannon got a chance to catch up with her in regards to the Palm Beach Passion. Here's what she had to say.
They've got great chemistry together. You know, they've been playing together for a long time. They have a lot of experience. They've been playing both internationally and on the league for a while, and so they're definitely one of the top teams in the world, and that's always fun to go up against and see how we stack up. So we always know they're going to bring their A game, and we're going to try and match up with that.
They make a great point in terms of stacking up against one of the best teams in the world. We mentioned their silver medal. It is a series that is tilted in the favor currently of Humana Paredes and Wilkerson in the head-to-head battle, 2-1. However, that last competition was in Huntington Beach, And it was Meg Craft and Therese Cannon who picked up the win, moving to their first final together.
Yeah, their defensive scheming, they being the LA Launch, working out beautifully right now. A couple back-to-back digs in that cross court against Melissa Humana-Paredes have given Cannon and Craft this 4-point lead.
Big start for your LA Launch. I love it, I love it, I love it. All right, here's the deal. I got my mini balls to give out, but intern Juliana has made me promise that I will keep it reasonable.
Next Saturday, the AVP League heads to the sand in the city that never sleeps. Get ready as the top teams in the game head to New York to spike dig and dive for glory under the bright lights of the Big Apple. The AVP League from New York next Saturday at 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific on the CW. You get a chance to see us in Central Park. Some primetime volleyball, and coming down to the wire, that'll be week 6 action. Again, just 8 total weeks of regular season play. Only 4 chances or 4 weekends to really make your mark in those cup standings. 16 total allotted points possible. Right now, the LA Launch sit with 6 of them. This is their biggest test yet for LA.
So far equal to the task, rolling quite well. As we talked about going into that timeout, their defensive scheming has been spot on here in set number 1, but that's kind of the name of the game, right, is the real-time adjustments, who can make them in the most timely fashion, and look for the Palm Beach Passion to push back a little bit here.
Dig pass well into the air. Push to the right side. The one-arm stab kept alive. Checked down by Brandy, and she quiets the crowd.
Yeah, tremendous effort to keep that alive, and you see the prowess of the defense of Megan Craft on display. But 3 chances is a lot. For a team as talented as the Palm Beach Passion, they get the job done eventually.
Top spin, jump serve, optioned all the way from the right side. You don't see that as often.
Not as often, but it is a big part of the game of the LA Launch, and Meg Craft's so good. Right now, she's really, really dialed in the height and the crispness of those shots. Working the ball over Brandy, not easy to do, but she is in that zone.
One of the taller defenders that you will see stands at 6 foot. Melissa back to the right side. There's that defensive prowess once more. And it's clean, efficient volleyball from Meg Craft.
And again, going through the upper regions of that Wilkerson block. Megan Craft is on fire offensively and defensively, digging everything away from the body that Melissa Humana-Paredes has to offer right now.
Out of system play for Palm Beach. And that's right in the basket for Meg Craft, the double contact called. And explain that.
Yeah, the ball's got to come out simultaneously out of your hands. As we get another look at it, just kind of have a look at the release here. You couldn't quite see it at the top of the screen, but it kind of goes from one hand to the other. And so correctly determined to be a double contact.
At 11-7, 0 hitting errors from all 4 of these athletes. Pressure applied by Palm Beach, even though there's an open net, and that is lasered right to the line.
Therese Cannon with a scope on that one. Sharp shooting it right on the sideline.
Out of system, no longer. Sets played to just 15 points, the best 2 of 3. 9 kills on the side of LA. And make it 5 now for Palm Beach. Time's running out, but nothing is unsurmountable when you're the Palm Beach Passion and a skill set like theirs.
Yeah, that's a good shot for Mel to start working a little bit As we talked about, Meg's been on everything that's been kind of away from her body, so got to work that left sideline a little bit more here. Open up the court for herself.
Quick contact on the set, and Brandy just got a piece of it, sent wide. One of the best blockers in the world, and Brandy Wilkerson.
She's probably the most dynamic blocker, just a fraction of a second late on that one, I think. Couldn't quite shape the arms back into the court.
Decides to leave that one. The ace to error ratio is definitely in the favor of the LA launch. Allotted a few of those misses. Kraft, her eyes are down to the sand, as is the ball.
Yeah, again, it's difficult if you're the Palm Beach Passion because you don't know which way to go. You go Therese Cannon, she's on fire siding out. You go the other way, Meg Kraft, I don't remember her missing at all in transition or otherwise in this opening set. So it's a difficult task for the Passion right now.
Set point, and you're right. Meg Kraft hitting 1,000 right now. Finding the tough angle, Melissa Humana-Paredes fights off the first.
A little fall away, slicey dicey. Yeah, it's tough here. The LA launch, 4 chances to close this opening set. Now the mission, if you're the Palm Beach Passion, is to see if you can't generate a little momentum as you head towards the second set.
Jump set, released, and scooped. Here comes Melissa, and finds one. They need a couple more of those defensive plays.
Now that is what I like to call the Lincoln Park corollary, though, Cam. It starts with one.
This is the Melissa we know and love. Able to scoop and score. They stay on Kraft, and this time it's an error. You saw the jump set before, and they looked for the option.
And we're going to take a timeout. Timeout by the launch.
Yeah, deucing the timeout here are the Palm Beach Passion. So you said it, nothing insurmountable before either team gets to the finish line. And now a little bit of pressure on the launch, where it's been, to use Melissa's words, smooth sailing for the launch through the majority of this first set. Now a little bit of pressure.
This is a little surprising when you consider Humana-Paredes and Wilkerson and their performance yesterday. Melissa ended up with 10 kills on 12 attacks, 0 errors, and Ricardo de Freitas in the box right now giving some insights. Let's see if we can listen in.
Great. Don't second guess. Every time we do this or this, you stay more. Go for it. Just pay attention now. If Megan goes normal pin, she will go hard, cross, sharp. She will go high for that. Okay, so pay attention now. If you do this, it's to go inside. She still didn't hit line. Let's see what will happen. Be ready to go over Brandy.
What'd you pick up?
I don't know if I got it exactly. He's obviously talking positioning and defensive scheming. I think we missed a little bit of context there, but they do have a very decided plan as to what they want to do and where they want to be set up against both Meg and Therese here.
Heading into that timeout, that was the first hitting error between these two teams. You see the offensive numbers again. Anything around 500 is considered exceptional. The 700 is just unbelievable. Here goes Brandy Wilkerson trying to inch their way closer here. And instead she gets iced out. Set one belongs to the LA launch. They continue their path against the Palm Beach Passion after the win in Huntington.
Yeah, it's frustrating as a coach at times when you walk through a defensive setup and then you just end up missing your serve and giving the first set away to your opponents.
Talking about the Olympic silver medalists, Melissa and Brandy, and we actually talked to Melissa just about the amount of momentum coming out of 2024 and the Paris Olympic Games, now heading to Los Angeles in 28. Here's what she had to say.
So I think coming off of the Paris Olympics, there's definite momentum in beach volleyball and in our sport, especially with the LA 2028 Olympics next. That's definitely on the radar for Brandy and I as well. It feels kind of full circle because that's where the start of my professional career happened, was in LA, and we've spent so much time there. So our sights are set on continuing on to play LA 2028 and continue to see where this league develops. We want to kind of be pioneers in the sport to get it to where it really deserves to grow, and hopefully that happens in our career lifetime. But yeah, I think beach volleyball is a sport you don't want to sleep on because it's coming.
It definitely is coming right here to Los Angeles, specifically Long Beach, California. And I would not be surprised if we saw Humana Paredes and Wilkerson right back where we did in Paris in that gold medal match. The question is, who else will be there? Could it be one of these United States teams, and specifically maybe the one on the other side of the net?
Yeah, absolutely. They're heavily in the mix. You know, unfortunately, even as the hosts, the U.S. only gets 2 spots in the field, but Megan Therese of the LA launch right there and looking to take one of those spots without a doubt. It's nice to see the smile that comes to the face of Melissa when she's holding up that medal, isn't it?
Without question. As you look to the set one stats, the efficiency, like we mentioned, 500 is an impressive mark. 7 on the other side, but it's the digs that really stood out for LA. What do you want to see from Palm Beach considering these numbers?
Yeah, I think they just have to be a little bit more varied in their offense. You know, Melissa mentioned at the top of the show that they're having to face pretty significant service pressure from the launch, so they've got to handle that, like she said, so they can get into their smooth sailing zone. They were not in that zone, even though they hit 538. You mentioned that being a very good number, and it is, but it's also a little bit of a relative number. If the team on the other side hits 700, then 500 all of a sudden doesn't look so good. So they got to step up their defense a little bit and be a little bit more varied in their offense.
And again, if you're just learning about hitting efficiency, it is your kills minus your errors divided by attempts. It's a little bit like a batting average. There's some nuance to it, but it is the #1 predictor in terms of how efficient you are being as an attacker. One of the most important aspects of beach volleyball, as second set is now underway. And the quick option play from Wilkerson.
They'd like to lean on that a little bit more. You know, we talked about one of the tasks for the launch being neutralizing the physicality and the presence of Brandy Wilkerson, and they did a pretty nice job of that in set #1. Can that continue for them here in the second set?
That's a good way to go. Rich Lamborn, let's check in with Kevin Barnett after that ace.
Way to start for Palm Beach, no doubt. The focus in between sets was, hey, we talked a lot about defense coming in and what the other side was going to do, what we're going to do against the other side. We forgot about our own side out. We need to go back to just siding out at a high level on our side, and that little change should make all the difference.
Great call, Kevin Barnett, as there is an extended rally now. Here comes Kraft. Couple one-arm digs in this one. Wilkerson with the finesse.
Yeah, so already we've seen a couple good defensive stops from the Palm Beach Passion and a service ace. So a fire has been lit. And the Passion rolling early.
Kevin mentioned side-out play. Can you give us some insight what exactly that is?
Side-out play? Yeah, that just means when they're in service reception, they're looking to put the ball away at a high level. We were talking about the hitting efficiency, which is kind of what is tied to that, right? So, again, 500, a good number that they hit in the first set, but they need to step it up while also bringing the 700 number of the LA launch down a little bit. So far, early in set 2, they're already on their way.
An educator of the masses, Rich Lamborn.
Silent M.
This Tuesday on NXT, it's an epic triple threat for who will rule the D'Angelo family. Tony versus Stax versus Luca Crucifino. The fate of the family is at stake. Don't miss an all-new NXT Tuesday, 8/7 Central, right here on the CW. I have a feeling you do pretty good in NXT.
I was going to say, I wonder if they got an open spot.
Get in the chair!
I need some activity during the week. Cam,
second, maybe a third career for you?
Our great stat guy, Doug Strauss, to our left here, wonders if this is maybe the earliest timeout in league history, 3-0.
I mean, if anyone knows, it's him.
It is very possible. It's hard to imagine one happening earlier in a set, but, you know, it's it's one of those things. There's no correct answer to when to use your timeouts, right? It's kind of what your team is comfortable with, and if you feel like you need to stop this momentum that Palm Beach seems to be creating, then by all means call a timeout. Let's see if it works.
Slowing the momentum. Some quick feet already showcased there on the serve reception and icing the server.
So they're 2 for 2 now in this match. Timeouts called and subsequent service errors from the Passion. Nice job, Coach Mike. Play check.
Call him Mastermind Mike, the coach for the LA Launch. Working out of San Diego, California. And that's up and over the top, and yes, that flag is pointing to the sand. That ball was in bounds with a potential challenge.
So here's the caveat in the challenge, Cam. Let's have a look at the replay while we kind of talk this through. LA Launch, Megan Therese, convinced, and probably rightfully so, that that ball mark is long, but our up official and line judge John King indicating that the rope was hit on the way by. And so that's kind of the caveat to the challenge system. If either official sees the rope get hit, then you kind of can't challenge because the ball mark's going to be a little bit misleading, right?
Yeah, fair point. Nice work by our officiating crew. Now 4-1, Palm Beach. They changed their target. Now it's Therese Cannon with a chance to side out.
All 4 of these ladies extremely athletic out there. Talked about Brandy's imposing nature at the net on her block, and the LA Launch working up and over her quite well in this match.
Yeah, I got a kick out of it considering extremely athletic, like you just mentioned. The York University bio for Brandy Wilkerson called her that, and I think it's still a drastic understatement.
Well, that was a nice swing up the line from Melissa. We saw a lot of success defensively for the LA Launch in her away from the body swing in set 1, so she's doing a nice job kind of changing her offensive rhythm and some of the locations.
You can hear the crispness of that contact from Mel. And this is looking strong for Humana Paredes and Wilkerson. The change of the target seems to be the answer.
Well, yeah, it's, you know, you go into a match with a game plan and kind of a target, who you want to go after on the other side of the net. But we talked about it a little bit in set 1. Who can make those real-time adjustments? You have to constantly be sort of doing the math. Is our game plan working? Is it not? How do we need to alter it in order to get some success? Between sets, the Palm Beach Passion have done some nice things to change things up a little bit. Now it's on the LA Launch to see how they respond.
Imagine, too, when you haven't been getting served and all of a sudden you have to work on that skill. Not the easiest task for Therese Cannon.
There is something to be said for rhythm in your side-out game, right? Your service reception.
Another good lead for Palm Beach. 2 hitting errors now for Cannon. Door being cracked a little. Wilkerson almost having to chuckle that one off. I think the toss got away from her. A look to Kraft's numbers.
Anytime you see a 0 in the errors column, you're playing well.
A look at some double down defense on the side of the LA Launch was not the answer though. Now at the 8-4 switch.
And that is something you do see with some regularity though, right? This is kind of a tactical pull you see late from Therese pulling to the line and kind of crisscrossing into that angle as Meg Kraft just a little bit late to try and dig that shot from Mel.
Last time these 2 teams faced off was in the Huntington Beach Open. It was a 3-set battle going the direction of Cannon Kraft, 15-12 in the 3rd set. And it was 8 combined service aces by the LA Launch that secured that win, as well as 32 kills.
Yeah, right now, a couple successive service errors from the Palm Beach Passion, something they have to kind of keep an eye on. They don't want to let those numbers mount up.
Not seeing a ton of extended rallies in this. It's really clean.
Now, when we talked about those hitting efficiency numbers, they're very high for both teams, even though, you know, we talked about 500 not being enough if the opponent's at 700, but not a ton of defense going on in this match because everybody's siding out well. There's another ace, Cam.
And a change in tactic. Wilkerson works with a jump float to find one.
I love that switch up from Brandy because we talked about the Passion missing their last 2 serves in succession. So you got to make sure this one goes in, and it goes in beautifully for the ace.
Her second ace of the match. Goes right back to the same target and doubles down.
Yeah, she's got something going on with that thing because it kind of crosses the net and just falls right off the table. Both of those serves diving in front of the reception attempts from the LA launch. You can see that, Meg, almost looking like she got fooled, but that's just a matter of that ball dropping out of the sky.
Maybe a little extra breeze here in the Intuit Dome. How about 3 straight? Make it a turkey.
Was that back-to-back aces? I do
You
believe
almost baited me into a gobble-gobble noise right there.
Come on, don't let me down, Rich. It's a runaway freight train at this point. Kraft was there to assist Cannon on that contact. And if you're LA, are you just wanting to build momentum?
I think so. I mean, that's the task, right? We saw the late push from Palm Beach when they were down big in set 1. So obviously, LA aren't conceding this second set yet, but they do have a long road ahead of them.
What a pretty swing.
Yeah, we talked about that being something that the Palm Beach Passion had to do in this second set, was vary their offense a little bit. This is something they like to employ, is that set all the way out to the pin for Melissa, because look how precise she is with that line shot, and it opens up so many different angles, puts a lot of pressure on Therese Cannon as to where she wants to get in front of that as a blocker.
Building a house is Brandy Wilkerson. That one's the roof.
Listen, I know
Just an Intuit Dome stuffing right there for Wilkerson. That's a great move, kind of showing that there's a little bit of line available and taking it away at the last minute.
Her first block to get them to set point. Another pass gone awry. Kraft tries to become the savior, but nonetheless, Humana Paredes and Wilkerson take set number 2. That means number 3 is just around the corner. Riding the ship are Humana Paredes and Wilkerson.
Well, yeah, I mean, you talked about are the LA launch trying to generate some momentum. They were unable to even do that because from the moment we sort of brought that up, the Palm Beach Passion closed, some great serving, and they just really ran away with that second set.
They closed on a 7-1 run. It's time now to check in with Kevin Barnett. I think he has a little insight on Meg Kraft.
Yeah, Cam, you know, sometimes traveling the world to play volleyball can crowd out the rest of life, and other times it can offer wildly unique opportunities to experience life. Last year, Meg Kraft lost in a tournament in Portugal, was on the beach, when fellow player Kim Hildreth mentioned that Taylor Swift's Eras Tour was in Lisbon, not too far away, for 2 nights. The question became, who's in? And the answer was Therese Cannon right there. Kelly Cheng, Sarah Hughes, Miles Partain all answered the call. Tickets were purchased on that beach via phone. The logistics, hey, easy enough. Take a 3-hour train ride to Lisbon, get to the venue, enjoy the concert, 3-hour train ride back home. By the way, that train left Lisbon at 1:30 a.m., so 4:30 a.m. back in Espino. The Uber didn't arrive, so they finished the night with a reported 6-minute mile run back to the hotel. No doubt some people were dragging the next morning, but totally worth it. Lifelong memories made.
All right, so the best preseason training, a 6-minute mile through the beach is what I'm hearing. That's great work, Kevin Barnett. Great story about this duo along with many of our other AVP pros. Well, back to the action now. A couple aces on the side of Palm Beach Passion that really fueled that second set. 3 specifically from Brandy. Let's take a look back at some of these wicked serves.
That was the second of 3 successive, I believe. Yeah, that was the third. They made a nice adjustment there because we talked about them having to sort of pay attention to their service error numbers, and they decided to stay down, like you mentioned. Brandy typically going with that jump spin serve. She stayed down, went with the float, and it paid huge dividends. She got those back-to-back-to-back aces, and yeah, have a look at that shift. 538 is good, 875 is unbelievable, especially when it's 875 more than your opponent hitting zero.
Hitting zero in that second set. Another pass. This is a problem to start off set number 3. Here comes Mel. What a turn. Overhead dig. She's been working on that. And it pays off.
Yeah, that was juicy there. Right into the paws. Handled beautifully. Brandy Wilkerson retreating off the net. And as you mentioned, it was really the tough serve from Melissa Humana-Paredes that had the LA launch on their heels from the get-go.
LA not able to steady out their passing to this point. Set 1 looked good, but it was a different target. There's the perfect pass and set.
I like that too. Good aggressiveness, proactive mindset for Megan Kraft, coming in on that good pass and just making an excellent choice, swinging away.
Just 6 ties in that second set. That's the fewest points scored by a women's team, or excuse me, 6 points was the fewest scored by a women's team this year in that second set. As that's rejected. Return to sender, and here she comes.
Yeah, so it's this ongoing chess battle, right? We saw everything into the angle from Melissa get dug in set 1, the LA launch win. She made a great adjustment, started swinging down the line a little bit, varying the width of some of the sets she was hitting. Now Therese on that line, so making that adjustment back. Now, what do the Palm Beach Passion have to say?
Therese Cannon trying to fight right now out of side out, as there's a full send hustle, but not enough speed, as we check in now with Kevin Barnett.
Hey, the message between sets for the LA launch was simply, this has been a serving match. We brought the pressure in the first set, they brought the pressure in the second. We weren't ready for that switch up from Brandy Wilkerson. So particularly for Therese Cannon, it was just remember to fall back on your skills. You got this. Words of encouragement for her as she was facing that change up in serve.
That's a great point. Got to be ready for that ball coming your direction, as Mel is right now. Backing up, back to the left side, and a little extra emphasis on that one.
That's extra pop from Mel on that transition swing.
And Cameron, just to finish up on that note, some of it was just recognizing the greatness of your opponent. You know, your opponent gets a say in how well your game plan goes or their game plan goes, and sometimes you just have to chalk it up to your opponent making good plays and find a way to move forward to the next set, the next opportunity.
Yeah, you make a great point, Kevin, as there's another pass sent to the sidelines yesterday for the Palm Beach Passion. Their opponent was the Miami Mayhem, coached by Jordan Chang. When I caught up with him, he said, this team of Mel and Brandy, they're just simply playing all world, and they did just that last night. They're starting to level up their game in this match to do exactly the same.
I mean, I agree with that assessment from Kevin, that you have to sort of chalk it up to the greatness of your opponent at times, as we see more greatness defensively from Melissa. But you've got to also be careful on your side to not overextend yourself and think that you have to do these miraculous things in order to beat your opponent. You have to stay within yourself, like Therese said, and Coach Mike Blachek. Hey, we just have to kind of fall back to the level of our training, trust our skills, and go out there and do what we know we're capable of doing.
Look back to that last transition swing for Meg Kraft. As there is some delivery from the service line. How tough is that serve, and why is it?
Well, it's the shortest distance, right? It's kind of right up the sideline, and so Mel has the minimum amount of time to react to that. She passes it beautifully, but it's coming off her arms so high and so spinny that it's also tough on that option play for Brandy to get on top of. She just misses it long.
That to tie the score, as the LA Launch defensively want to find a fifth. That high line shot continues to work for the Passion.
Yeah, that's a really good shot for a lot of reasons. You know, it's a great serve from Meg Kraft, because she just threw that dart down Melissa's sideline. Then she goes short middle, and Mel has kind of an abbreviated approach and has to work up over the block. Does so perfectly that time.
Brandy's eyes set as she finds her target, and wow, what a move from Kraft. She was nearly on the left side of the court, and another massive wall. That's number 2 in this match. Another rejection from Wilkerson.
Yeah, just perfect setup right in front of Meg Kraft on the kind of the short side of the court as Meg was in the middle after taking about 80% of the court in service reception.
I mean, that's just nuts. The contact point for Brandy Wilkerson, well above the height of a basketball rim. That is another float serve that's sent right back to the sand. 5 aces for Wilkerson.
It's wild. She's just got that touch right now where the ball's gliding over the tape and then dropping off the table. It's one of those things, when this happens, you're always back there scratching your head a little bit as to how did I do that, right? Because you hit so many float serves in your life. But watch this thing just get over the net, boom, just drops right out of sight there, and Therese can barely get her arms on it.
Brandy Wilkerson's 5 total aces now ties the all-time women's record in league play. And again, a float serve, it almost mimics a changeup from a baseball pitcher too. Just some of the motion that you'll see versus having spin on it.
Right, it knuckles a little bit, right? And that's what you want it to do. The rub is that you can't quite control which direction it's going to go, and sometimes it flies a little more true, and sometimes it does exactly what it's doing for Brandy right now, which is, you know, just flying and then dropping out right in front of both LA Launch players, and that's kind of what's led them to the 5 aces they have at this point.
If you love what you're seeing from the AVP League, I've got good news for you. We have 3 more regular season stops, including a 4th championship in Chicago. You'll get a chance to see us in the Big Apple, New York City, July 19th through the 20th, and then off to Texas in back-to-back weeks from Austin to Dallas. And our Cup championship will be right there. It will be determined either potentially even in Austin or maybe even in Dallas, but these are the top 2 teams facing off. And then the Pairs Championship will be decided in Chicago. Which of those duos will make it all the way to Oak Street Beach? 2 championships to fight for in 2025 in the AVP League. One more dig. And so far, the defense of Melissa Umano-Paredes, you got to think back to what she said, right? You talked about her maybe popping the collar. She wants this game on her platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they not pleased, you would think, with the way set number 1 went. They bounced back beautifully in set number 2, and they are keeping it rolling here in the 3rd. You gotta, you know, it's the synchronicity of the defense there. Big Brandy, we saw what she can do blocking the last offering from Meg Kraft, and now she's just kind of a deterrent, guiding the ball towards Melissa, who is right there for the defense.
Melissa, the 2019 Newcomer of the Year on the AVP, as there is a straight whip of an arm from Meg Kraft.
our MC, Mark Sherman, called that a fake apology, and that is, I mean, these girls are very nice and sportsmanlike ladies, but no harm, no foul there, regardless of the sincerity of the apology.
No need for an apology on that one. Or any for that matter. What a move! Massive lateral motion for Wilkerson.
Yeah, that's a missed opportunity for the LA Launch. On the overpass, they had a chance. Difficult there to try and work your way softly past Brandy Wilkerson. She just stays completely outside the body of Therese Cannon and smothers that shot.
The 3rd block for Wilkerson.
Oh.
And a little scary moment there as Wilkerson checks down. That one is a real apology.
I'd like to see that again, because I think Meg almost comes up with this dig. Have a look. Oh, yeah.
She did.
Yeah, I think, I'm not sure if that was surprise or Brandy was instinctively saying go to Therese, because that ball came up. That was tremendous from Meg Kraft.
I mean, when have you seen Wilkerson hit the 1-foot line? Come on now. Left hand doing some work now. Wilkerson jumps to the right, ball sent left, and she gets just a piece of it.
Only takes one fiber, gets the outside of the sideline there. And that was critical. I think that might have been all she wrote had this one gone the way of the passion. Good aggressive swing there that time from Therese. You can see it just catch the outside of the line.
You know what else is impressive is Brandy's nail game. She's always got them dialed. Extended set.
Copy.
Open net, best block we've seen. Wilkerson nearly horizontal and becomes absolutely vertical.
That is unbelievable stuff. I mean, it was a tremendous cover. Look at that from Therese, just in position, but then Brandy tracks it down and will not be denied here in transition.
When have you ever seen a horizontal block? Only Brandy. We want to go back to that extremely athletic, yeah, understatement.
Understatement fully on display there.
Open net, another pull and dig for Wilkerson. Some light work.
It is the Brandy Wilkerson show, and again, not to be a broken record, but in the game of neutralized Brandy Wilkerson, the LA launcher failing unfortunately here because she is imposing her will in all aspects of the game.
3 blocks, 5 aces, and hitting 800. One step to her right, and right now she's just got the green light though as a blocker. Explain what that means.
Well, I mean, it's just, you know, see ball, block ball kind of a thing. Just go up there and whatever you see, take it away. She made a good read there, just a better swing that time high from Therese, but very close again from Wilkerson.
Defense aligned, a little shake and bake move here for Maycraft. Trying to gain some momentum, but they weren't close in the early parts of this set. It was 5-4, and then there was that extension about 8 and 9-4. A run of points on the side of Palm Beach. Let's see if they can find a run of their own. Maybe a little LA backing here in the Intuit Dome. There's the quick touch. Again, the LA Launch have yet to see a loss this season from both their men's and their women's teams. A loss here would be their first of league play. 8 aces for Palm Beach. Kraft rolls that from her platform. And her setting has been pretty impressive considering.
Yeah, I mean, I think Megan Kraft has been phenomenal in this match. They've run into a little bit of a buzzsaw in the last 2 sets in the form of the Palm Beach Passion, but she in particular has been very, very steady for the launch.
An extra breath on this serve. Short and reducing the option. Now they have to defend. Platform is good, and a last second save, and another heroic move from Maycraft. Will defense win out? How about a free ball? Jump set coming, 2 steps, and another great save. A defensive wonder from Melissa Humana-Paredes. Tight ball, and it's sent long. Stand on your feet, LA. You know that guy is.
It was the rally of the match. Yeah, I don't know how many times the ball went back and forth, but it was a lot. Great defense from both sides, and unfortunately that final set got a little close, and Mel just knocked it a touch long.
Not surprising here, a timeout called after this rally. I think everyone in the Intuit Dome needs to catch their breath.
That's smart. You don't want to let the momentum continue for the launch if you're the Palm Beach Passion. So catch your breath and see if you can slow things down a little bit. Just 2 points away from a victory in this one.
We always talk about potentially at the end of matches, it comes down to defense, blocking and digging. When you look at the 4 athletes on the floor right now, who's your money on?
I feel like if she's kicking out
Defensively?
Yes.
Well, I mean, you have to like what Brandy's been doing this the whole second 2/3 of this match, right? So I look for her to make one more impactful play to seal the deal for the Palm Beach Passion. But the task right now coming out of this timeout for them is to find a side out. They've gone the last couple times her way too, so that's on her as well, perhaps.
Big dives. They are going to your space. Okay, you are selling good the space. So huge dives for that.
Come on.
Let's go. Us now. Us
Yeah,
now.
interesting insight there from Coach De Freitas, talking about making big moves outside the body. Talked about Brandy having kind of the green light up there at the net to see what she sees and go get it. He's encouraging her to be even more proactive in finding that range outside her body.
Another good serve. They need some real points on the side of LA. Beautiful block and turn. Showcasing a 4 block. And another run down from Kraft. Finds her footing and a sliding set. Little extra test here from Melissa Humana-Paredes. Bad set, but some net love.
I think Melissa was shocked a little bit that Brandy didn't go on 2 with that last dig. She did some fancy footwork to get to that set, got rewarded off the top of the tape.
Good things happen when you hustle. 14-10 means we are now at match point for the Palm Beach Passion. They're just one away from handing LA their first loss of the season. High off the chest, Cannon. Beautiful, intuitive read. Melissa Humana-Paredes wins the joust and wins the match. Muscle down, Melissa.
The two-handed joust shove. What an exciting match that was. Everything we hoped it would be going in, Cam.
An awesome performance from both teams. Apart from that second set, highly contested from the LA Launch and the Palm Beach Passion. And the first loss for LA. The hometown crowd is looking a little bit more pink here.
Well, that's why we play best out of 3, as we see the final shove there, yeah. Mel using her momentum well, avoiding the net, getting that one to fall on the side of the launch for the win.
That's a walk-off for Melissa. That's who's next up on the sand-filled Dahlhauser. And Trevor Crab, as we'll get a chance to catch up with our winners now with Kevin Barnett.
Yeah, the high fives had to be had with the men's side to congratulate the winners here. Now 5 straight in a row. And we've talked a lot about Brandy taking over matches, but Brandy, time for you to still go melt the joust to win it.
Oh my gosh, teach me how you do that. And it was with her chest, like she was ready to take that last point.
Now I wonder what the signals, you're calling the blocking sometimes, right? What's the signal for Brandy just to start doing Brandy things and taking over a match?
Yeah, I just look into her eyes and I can see what's about to happen. I just sit back and enjoy the show. It's what I love the most about her is she can turn it on and just take over. It makes my job super easy. I love being her partner.
And this side gave you a good push. What adjustments do you think worked mid-match?
After the first set, it was definitely straight out. That was the key that kind of lost us that lead or that staying in the game. And then we made some defensive positions. We also switched up our serving a little bit. And Brandy was coming through with these dropper aces that I love to see. And
Nailing these lasers.
Yeah, Brandy, they were talking upstairs about you don't know if the ball's going to drop or not and how much you can control it. What prompted you to make the switch mid-match?
I mean, I get a lot of encouragement from my team, Melissa, our coach, to just try new things. That's something I'm working on to diversify my serving. So I went for it. It was working. Melissa kept cheering me on, so I kept going for it.
All right, maybe it was all that stuff, or maybe it was the twinning before the event started this week. Maybe you should match at the end of every week.
yeah.
You guys are locked in. Congratulations.
Thank you.
The 4 becomes a 5, a 5-match win streak for the Palm Beach Passion, and taking down an undefeated team and finding that 5th. A look back at match point. The chest, the muscle dig. Let's go, Melissa. The Palm Beach Passion pick up one more.
My goodness, Brandy. time and made it happen. You're playing an undefeated team inside their home gym. Obviously, you have fans every